Be unreasonable in your goals. Episode 1 of the Rescue Swimmer Mindset podcast. I'm Cody Wright. Today I'm going to try to answer one question for you, and that question is, what does it mean to quit? And just kind of a fair warning, this isn't a 20-minute motivational podcast. I'm going to teach you or try to give you tools that you can use throughout your training, and mainly when you get to school, what tools that are going to help you succeed. So I'm going to start it off by talking about my first few days in rescue swimmer school, and then we're kind of going to work forward from there and kind of establish a few rules and different techniques you can use. So first day of rescue swimmer school is Monday morning, and it's really simple. So if you hear of someone dropping out on the first day of rescue swimmer school, I don't even know what to say. It's basically all you do is spend the first few hours in the morning doing paperwork and having the rescue swimmer instructors kind of just looking at you weird. It's almost like a boot camp thing where they're kind of just like testing the waters and seeing they're trying to get a feel for everyone. But you're not actually doing any PT or anything. You're just sitting there doing paperwork in a classroom. You spend the whole morning doing that, and then you break for lunch normally because it's probably like 11:30 or 12 by then. And then you come back after lunch and you do your PT test. And I don't know if it's still like this, but I think it is. The PT test was basically 50 push-ups, 60 sit-ups, 5 pull-ups, 5 chin-ups, 1.5 mile run in under 12 minutes, 500 meter swim in under 12 minutes, and then 4 underwater laps with 60 seconds rest. So these are very easy numbers to make if you've been training at all, and everyone knows this. But still, we had a few people fail the test. I think 2 or 3 people failed the in test. And that counts as a no-go in rescue swimmer school. And you only get I think you get 7 or 8 no-goes, and then you fail out of school. So it's really kind of silly to get one on the PT test when you had to have passed it to get to the school. So that's kind of the first little insight into who's mentally ready and who's kind of slacking. So we had a couple people fail, and they had to take it the next morning, basically, before everyone did their regular PT. So they'd have to wake up early, and they went and took their PT test, and then they'd meet up with us. So the second day, we woke up, I think we met up at 6:30 at the PT grinder, and we did about a 2.5, 3-hour workout. And this is all just, it's kind of CrossFit style working out. So a little bit of weights, lots of sprints, calisthenics, stuff like that. And it was pretty brutal. It's a kind of like a tester where the instructors are really they're definitely going close to they're having you go 90, 95% the whole time. So you're pretty exhausted during that workout, and everyone's adrenaline's kind of pumping, heart rates are high. So your body kind of wears out pretty quick, even though you don't realize it. So it definitely sets you up for failure in the pool if you weren't training right. So we did that long PT workout, and then we got into the pool, and we got on the pool deck, and before we even got in the water, we did probably 25 minutes of more PT. So we're doing push-ups, flutter kicks, and this is not with fins on. So we had our gear, but we were not wearing the gear. It was just next to us. So we did that. We got in the pool, and we're standing at attention. There's a little 5-foot section of the pool. It's like a 25 by 25 meter pool. There's a 5-foot section, basically where you can stand. Maybe it's 4 feet, and then it drops off to 12 feet. So it's essentially 12 feet deep the whole length of the pool, except for the first 5 meters. So we're standing there waiting for the instructors to yell at us, and the one instructor yells out 50-meter half and half. So all that is swim underwater, basically 12.5 meters surface, swim freestyle for the next 12.5, turn around underwater, 12.5, and then freestyle for the last 12.5. And this is a pretty simple drill. This is like a very simple warm-up, and this becomes a warm-up that you do every day in this school. And you do, I mean, probably halfway through school, you're doing 500-meter half and halves for your warm-ups with no rest. It becomes really easy. And if you made it to the second day of rescue swimmer school, you've done these so many times, it should be really easy for you, and it is easy for you. So there's 20, I think it's 28 of us on that day in the pool. So the pool's really crowded. When they're underwater, everyone's kind of hitting their arms on each other, and it's kind of awkward and makes people a little anxious, I guess. But we did the first one, no problem. Everyone surfaced, and then we waited probably 20 to 40 seconds, and then they yelled the same thing again. So we went to another 50-meter half and half, and I got up on that one, and I finished I was not really a fast swimmer. I was probably average, but that first day I had a ton of adrenaline going, and I was finishing like second or third every time. So I get up like third, and I look to my right, and everyone's kind of finishing up, and I see a guy on the pool deck talking to the instructor. And I was like kind of curious. I didn't know what was happening, so I just kind of didn't think about it. And we went to basically just another like hour of underwater laps and sprints and just random swimming drills, kind of just to get us used to the pool and what we're going to be going through. And we get to lunch. I don't think anything of it. And then we get back after lunch to get back in the pool. And there's 2 or 3 guys not there that were there. So we probably have 22, 23 people in the locker room getting ready to go out. And I realized that those people had quit already. And I was kind of shocked. I didn't realize that people would quit doing stuff that we had done a million times. I always thought that people quit in these kind of schools doing stuff that, like secret stuff that instructors and past graduates don't talk about for kind of tactical reasons, where they don't want you to know certain things as a test. When you get there, you got to face it, and that's what people fell out at. Hey, just wanted to pause real quick and let you know that if you're interested in this sort of psychological training and kind of the mental aspect of training for elite military schools, you can check out a book I wrote called The Rescue Swimmer Mindset: Unlocking the Psychological Edge of the Coast Guard Rescue Swimmer. And I really dive deep into what I talk about here and really all the tactics and lessons I learned. And I go through a bunch of stories that I experienced in rescue swimmer school, kind of breaking everything down. If you're interested in the PT and physical side, I also run a few training programs through my website, rsmguide.com. And if you can go on there, check out the training, and just feel free to send me a DM through Instagram or email at rsmguide@gmail.com if you have any questions or just kind of random thoughts from the episode. All right, back to it. So from then on, I was really curious as to why they quit. Hence, the overall goal of this episode is to answer the question, what does it mean to quit? And I wasn't really ready to answer the question when I was in swimmer school. And it took years and years of kind of thinking and unpacking what happened at school and reading some psychology books and kind of mental fitness books to come up with my own conclusion. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to try to answer it based on my past experience and what I've learned since. So again, this shouldn't be taken as truth. It's just my opinion. And I think my opinion is pretty accurate and could really help you out. And this opinion, and I think the answer to the question, is the people who don't quit are unreasonable in their goals. And what I mean by that is they refuse to use logic. And when I say refuse to use logic, what I mean is really this. Anyone who decides to go to A school knows they have a high probability of failure, and they go in spite of this. And this requires a few things. It requires a huge amount of self-confidence. And when I say self-confidence, I don't mean to be vocal or display, like kind of act out that you're confident, although some people do that, and that's genuinely how they are. But if you're not generally like a outspoken or outgoing person, that you don't have to be to display self-confidence. Self-confidence comes from within. No one really knows if you have it until you're really put to the test. And throughout the 4 months you're at A school, or 6 months, you will be tested. So it'll come out. People will find out eventually. And luckily, there's a few confidence hacks you can use. And these are hacks that I use in the moment, even though I didn't know about them. I used a few of them, but when you're in school, you're going to be going through days and days, weeks and weeks, and months of the same training. And every day is mentally and physically grueling. And if you kind of try to zoom out and think about the whole experience as for what it is, it's very, very hard to grasp, and it can become really overwhelming. So I don't advise it. What you should be doing is every morning when you wake up, you're not even you have your gear ready to go. So you're not really thinking about the day, what you're going to be doing. You're just going to get your breakfast and kind of go through your morning routine. And when you get to the PT grinder for your workout, you're not thinking about how hard the workout's going to be or what you're going to be doing in the pool that afternoon. All you're thinking about is setting up the grinder and getting your stretches in. And when you start your workout, you're thinking about the drill you're doing that moment. So if you're doing a 200-meter sprint, you're not thinking about the squats you're going to have to do when you get back from the sprint, or the VersaClimber workout that you're going to do after the grinder workout. You're just staying present to the moment and actively focusing on the task you're doing. Number 2, think about the feeling of accomplishing your goals. So this is really just visualization. But all you're doing is maybe in a moment at night when you're going to bed and you're kind of down thinking about quitting, just think about what it's going to feel like on that last day of school and what it's going to feel like to graduate and become a rescue swimmer. Number 3 is learn to breathe. So they taught us this, I think, like the first couple of weeks in school. One of the instructors was really into meditation and yoga, and he taught us basically all you do is inhale for 3 seconds, hold that breath in for 2 to 3, and then breathe out for 6. And you repeat that for 3 to 5 minutes. And this does a good job of kind of slowing your heart rate down and just kind of getting you more present and focused on the moment. And this is something you can do in the morning before you meet up with your class to go to the grinder, or before a big test when you're sitting in the locker room by yourself waiting to go out to the pool deck. Number 4, be your own cheerleader. And this one is really important because oftentimes there's this voice in your head that likes to critique everything you do. So if you had a bad pool session or you're in the middle of a bad pool session, you might be negatively self-talking yourself, or you might be critiquing everything that you're doing, and it's really a downward spiral of emotions. So, and another one that I used, and I wrote about this in a blog post maybe like a month ago, this is replacing a negative feeling or negative emotion that you're experiencing in the moment with a feeling of curiosity. So you have to actively focus on being curious as to why you're feeling an emotion rather than just kind of sitting there and feeling that emotion. And this does a couple things. First, it kind of shifts your mind away from the stressors that you're experiencing, and then allows you just to really just focus on something else. So you're not getting in your head and getting back to that downward spiral. Another really great tool that I was taught by another rescue swimmer before getting to rescue swimmer school is to basically know that every rescue swimmer who went through school and passed has faced the exact same pressures and feelings that you faced or will face. In short, you're not special, and everything that you're doing is an intentional process designed to get you to quit. So what you really have to do is drop your ego and needing to feel like you're great at everything and just get through everything and do your workouts and get into the pool and knock the pool workout out. And those 2 big concepts are really all it is. That's what separates the guys who pass from the guys who quit. So when I ask the question, what does it mean to quit? What it really means is you failed to properly train your mind to deal with the stressors of school. And if you're not preparing for the mental shift that needs to happen, you really have no business in passing and being a rescue swimmer or Navy SEAL or PJ, because prepping mentally is just as important as physically prepping. There's hundreds of thousands of people who can meet the physical standard. It's not hard to do. And I'm sure you know this, because if you're listening to this, you probably can meet the PT standards that I talked about earlier, and you can probably do all the workouts that we've ever done in school. But what really separates everyone is their ability to focus, be present to the moment, and eliminate a downward negative emotional spiral. And if you can do that, and you have the physical skill set needed, you have a really high chance of getting through swimmer school. So have a good Friday, and I'll talk to you next time.